You did a good job.
Nice one.
So, and I'm going to go off because you don't need to see my hair either.
Oh, yeah.
It looks fine. It doesn't look bad.
I need to untwist it. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I just washed it, so.
What, today?
It's set now, which is good.
Okay.
So.
All right, we're just gonna give it literally one more minute, and then we're gonna make a start. So if you want to grab a hot drink or some water or whatever makes you feel comfortable, and we'll start in exactly 1 minute.
I have no idea how this works.
Hi, Verona. Judy.
Okay.
Hi.
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 It's Jackie. I haven't put my camera on.
Okay.
That's okay.
But I can see you. You can't see me.
That's fine. That's fine.
Maxine. Hi, Maxine.
Hi, Maxine. Okay, we're gonna make a start. Balu, you look very comfortable.
I am.
You.
I'm ready.
You're ready to go.
I'm ready.
Well, hi, everyone. We just want to say thank you for making the effort to join us this evening. And we hope that this presentation will be useful to all of you. We also wanted to see how you're all keeping with this lockdown. How have you all find keeping yourself at home? I hope it hasn't been too challenging, especially those with younger children.
By the way, the presentation is going to be very informal. So when you want to speak, you can either, there's an option to raise your hand, or you can just unmute yourselves and just stop us, ask your question, or say what you need to say. Go.
You want to go?
Okay, so really the point of this evening is just to, as we're all on lockdown, but I can see that you all are safe, which is the most important thing, in our homes and kind of following the instructions that we've been given. But thank God for technology, that we can still kind of communicate and make sure that our relatives and our friends and our clients are safe, and we can still provide information. So really, I mean, just a bit of introduction. We know that not everyone on the call is a client of ours. So we are the people. You can see Michelle, myself and my wife are kind of like the founders, the owner of the company. You can see Michelle. Michelle, give a wave. So Michelle is part of the team as well. And we've been around for 19 years, which when we say it like that, is actually a really long time. It makes it sound pretty old, but we're actually not that old. But you know, from when we started, we've always just really wanted to give people the confidence to be able to obviously to look after their hair, to maintain their hair. We've always been about expertise, we've been about knowledge, we've always been about service and also about value. And essentially, we're just here to support you. So, like we said, it is informal. Ultimately, the message, which obviously has been going out, is just really to stay safe, to stay healthy, and also to stay positive, which we're going to talk about a little bit. Kind of towards the end of the presentation. So I'm going to hand over to Michelle. And actually, before I do that, so kind of just to give you a brief outline of what we're going to be talking about this evening, if my computer will work. Okay, you can all still see my screen, can't you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
Excellent.
can.
Okay, so we're going to
I
really look
can,
at.
yeah.
Excellent, good. So we're going to touch on 5 areas. In a kind of presentation like this, we've got all different hair types. We've got relaxed hair, we've got natural, we've got curly perm, we've got colored hair. So we're going to try and be as broad and as general as we can, while still trying to answer your questions. So please bear with us. If you don't feel that we've kind of answered your specific question, towards the end, you'll get the opportunity to ask your question. We did actually also send out an email previously just to ask you a specific question, which we did get some questions and we'll go through this evening. So we'll be looking really at natural hair and general hair maintenance. The majority of our clients now obviously tending to be natural, so it kind of makes sense. So we'll be looking at how to cleanse, how to condition, how to treat, and some styling ideas that you can use at home. We'll also be looking Okay, so we'll be looking at relaxed hair for those that are relaxed, and looking at maintenance and what to do with regrowth, which is the big question. We've had lots of calls. Even though we're closed, by the way, we are still able to take calls because we just diverted the calls to our mobile. So we've had lots of calls about my relaxer's due, what am I going to do? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Then we'll look at colored hair. Lots of our clients have colored hair. So again, what about my gray? Should I attempt to color my own hair? We'll be looking at that. And like I said, we'll look at reducing stress. Believe it or not, stress has a major impact in terms of the quality of our hair. So we're just a few ideas in terms of staying healthy and staying positive. Then we'll look at obviously we'll do the question and answer if you have specific questions. Most shops are closed now, so essentially, in terms of buying products, you'll be looking at online. So we'll kind of give you some ideas in terms of where to buy products. And then we'll talk about personalized service. If after this session you still feel that you need kind of like some one-to-one, we're more than happy to offer that for you. So Michelle, we can go straight into it. Oops.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just look at natural hair, general maintenance, cleansing, conditioning, treating, and styling. And like I said, you can stop Michelle in between, because Michelle does have a tendency to kind of talk quite a bit. So you can stop if you want something repeated or you want to ask a question. You're more than welcome. Just unmute yourself and just ask your question. So I hand over to Michelle.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Joseph. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's keeping well. So to go in, like Joseph mentioned, we're going to cover the 5 areas. So the first one I'm going to cover will be on natural hair. So not necessarily everyone on here now has got natural hair. I can see some of our clients who've got relaxed hair on here as well. But we'll start with the natural hair first. So with the natural hair, we're looking at those with the type 4 hair, not only type 4 hair, and then type 3 as well. That could be even for yourself, or maybe you've got kids with that hair type as well. So this information works for both yourselves and also for your children as well. So with the natural hair routine, we've always said with natural hair, in terms of maintenance, especially when you're maintaining your hair at home, you'll be doing your shampooing and conditioning probably every 4 weeks. Most of the time it's every 4 weeks, unless you're someone who goes to the gym and you exercise a lot, and then you might have to do it every 2 weeks. But because of the circumstance we're in at the moment, some of us might not be doing those things at the moment. So in terms of maintaining natural hair, the shampoos and conditioners that you need to use, the main focus is still going to be trying to keep moisture in your hair. If you're coming to the salon, we'd still be having the same conversation, would still be the same process, and the same products we'll be using anyway. So for maintaining the natural hair at home, you want to make sure you just keep the hair moisturized as much as possible. So your routine is not really going to change as much in this situation we're in at the moment where you're not able to come into the salon. So you'd still do your shampooing, whether you're doing it once every 2 weeks or once every 4 weeks, that can still stay the same. It's just the thing you want to do is just maintaining moisture in your hair. So the products that we use for that, some of you might have these at home already, or you might not have them. We might have something similar. So your shampoos will say something like hydrating, detangling shampoo. That's a Keracare range shampoo that we stock in the salon. Like Joseph mentioned, we are still available to send out products if anyone, for whatever reason, someone doesn't have these products that I'm going to mention at home. But if you do have them, you can still use those. If you have something similar, you can use that as well. So for your shampooing, you still want to use your moisture shampoo, and the same for your conditioner. That'll be your conditioning shampoo, conditioner as well, that's moisturizing for the hair. In terms of treatments, if you have a moisturizing treatment at home, you can still use that every 4 weeks. So like I said, for those with natural hair, this will be natural hair without any form of chemicals on there. So we're looking at if your hair is natural, you don't have any form of color in your hair, that's covered in that area as well. So every 4 weeks, you still maintain the shampooing process, you still maintain the treatment process, which would be every 4 weeks. If your hair is natural and you keep it in a protective styling, this will be if you wear braids or you have a weave on your hair as well. If you're, that time where you would have normally taken out your weave or your braid at this time, you can still do that. And then it's just a case of maintaining your hair when it's out, which will be shampooing, conditioning, and then using your moisturizing products. So I keep mentioning the word moisture because that's the most important thing that your hair is going to need, regardless of whether your hair is chemically processed or it's natural. So moisture is the main key thing that your hair is going to need.
Sure, just very quickly before,
yes.
I don't know if you want to take some questions now, because there's a question. I think it was Alex. I wash my hair every week. Is that too much?
Okay.
Depending on the lifestyle.
Yes.
Is Alex going to the gym? Is she?
No, Alex isn't going to the gym.
Oh.
but
exercising at home.
But I mean, I think one of the things is after like 4 or 5 days, like stylistically, I'm in trouble. So I just wash it so I can do something with it.
Okay, if you have a build-up, then it's fine to get rid of the build-up on your hair, and ensure that not all the time that you need to shampoo with a conditioner. You can do a cleansing by just using the conditioner as opposed to a shampoo, so that you're not stripping off all the moisture. This is where co-wash will come into place. If you're rinsing your hair too regularly, you could do co-wash on the hair.
So you could wash it 1 week and then co-wash it
in
the
between.
next week.
But
Okay.
Alex, why would you shampoo it so much? You're not going anywhere. You're at home or you're still working?
It's just habit. I just do it. I just do it on a Sunday listening to Rodigan, and that's my routine.
So this might be a good time to break the habit then. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going anywhere, you're not getting kind of pollution in your hair, so there's really no reason to be shampooing your hair that often. Which is just simply habit.
Okay.
Okay, so Judith was asking, should we know our own hair type?
Okay. Okay, so this one will be a bit of a challenge because normally when we discuss hair types, I've got pictures, I've got someone to look at in terms of giving you an idea of hair type. So the typing system, some of you might have heard of it. People will say, I've got type 3 hair, I'm a type 4 hair, I'm a type 2. So the numbering system is just a way to describe the category of the texture of your hair that you fall in. So type 3, the main ones that we deal with are type 3 and type 4, which will be pretty much everyone who's on here now will either be a type 3 or type 4. So type 3 hair tends to be more your mixed clients, those with mixed textured hair. That will be the one that tends to be quite a loose curl. You got your type A, which will be slightly looser curl, and then to a 3, slightly of a tighter curl. So I know Judith, you're one.
Yeah, Harriet was just going to say, because I think Judith is Harriet's client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hi, yeah, I'm Harriet.
Hi, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, not too bad.
3C.
What would I be?
You are 3C.
3C.
Yeah, you're 3C. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know because I don't think I knew that.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Yeah. So,
but it's helpful to know. I think it's probably helpful to know.
Okay.
Okay, a couple more questions.
Hair clients would be the ones who are able to do easily like a wash and go, where when your hair is wet, it goes very curly before you put any products on your hair. So for yourself, Judith, that tends to be your curl pattern. So when your hair is wet, it goes very curly before we put anything else on there. And then by the time we put products on, it goes even more defined. So that's type 3 hair. And then your type 4 is those with extremely tightly coiled hair, from anything from an A to B to C. So type 4A is still relatively a looser curl, and it can curl with just the use of product without having to do anything else. And then your type 4 is the more coarser afro texture hair, the one that you cannot even see the curl pattern because the hair is so tightly coiled. That's the one where we tend to either have to blow dry to try and trim the hair, or we have to stretch it by doing twisting or twist outs. Those are the type of curl patterns that we're dealing with. So hopefully that kind of helps everyone on here to know.
Yeah,
the
thank
type
you.
of curl patterns they have.
Okay,
Yeah.
this,
Yes, thank you.
just for Fatima and Nadia, we're not ignoring your question. I'm going to let Michelle do a bit more, and then we'll come back to your questions, because there are 2 questions about dry scalp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So so that's a bit about natural hair. So your routine for natural hair, again, I'm gonna just go back over a quick summary before I move to the relaxer part. It will be, you want to maintain as much moisture as possible in your hair through your shampoos, your conditioners, and your treatments that you're gonna use. So for the products that you can use, if you don't have anything at home at the moment, the ones that we use a lot of are Design Essential. They do fantastic products within the shampoo and the conditioning treatment range as well. So those you can order online. You're able to order from our online shop as well. Design Essential is a good brand. Kerake is a good brand. So these are brands that have been around for a long time, and they cater specifically for Afro hair types. There's so many different brands now. And it's not to say not everything is not going to work. You just something, you have to try something and see whether it works for your hair. But based on the ones that we work with, a lot more for this hair texture will be Design Essential is a good one. Kerake is really good. Mizani have got some products you can use as well. Moroccan oil, the brand Moroccan oil, usually you find that more for European hair salons, but they have got a system in there that caters for moisture retention as well. So that's a good brand to use as well. And Jane Carter, that's very good if someone looking for something natural and they prefer to use more specifically for natural products as well. That'll be a good brand to use. Phyto Specific, if you want something completely plant-based, that's a good product brand to use as well. So I hope I didn't go too fast through the natural hair stuff. So I'm gonna go over to move on to the next one, Joseph.
Yeah, let's just take a couple more questions before we move on.
Okay, go.
So, okay, let's go. Lisa was asking, is it possible to have 2 hair types?
Yes, it's very common. It's very common to have 2 textured hair.
Sometimes even 3 textures?
It could be,
Yeah.
depending on how mixed you are within your family line. It can make you have those type of textures in your hair.
So it's normal if you have more than 1 hair texture, Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay, Fatima and Nadia was asking about dry scalp. So can you recommend anything for dry scalp? And also, it says, I have very dry scalp and suffer from quite a bit of flakes, particularly at the front, so I wash it every other week if possible. How can I avoid this and stick to a wash every 4 weeks?
What's your diet like? Are you going to the gym regularly?
No one's been to the gym.
No, meaning before, is it just happening now, or is it something that it was happening before lockdown?
So it's quite, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can.
So it's not something that's happened quite new. Like I've kind of suffered from dry scalp quite often in my life. I'm not someone that goes to the gym often. I wash it every other week. I try and avoid washing it every other week. At the moment, I have braids in my hair. So obviously when I take the braids out, I'll wash it, and I'm trying to maintain the whole, you know, when I see flakes, I'll wash it. So what my struggle is at the moment is how can I stop the flakes and the dry scalp from happening, and what products is there that I can use to stop that from happening, if that makes any sense.
Do you take any sort of dairy products in your diet?
No, so I'm someone that has very little to none dairy products, because my body doesn't take it too well.
Okay. When you braid your hair, is it often too tight?
So I only braid it. So the only reason why I've braided it this time is because I was going away. So it's only when I'm going away that I can't actually do much of my hair that I'll braid it. So this is the first time in about a year that I've braided my hair.
Nadia, what I was going to suggest, we've got lots of questions, and not to ignore you completely, but we didn't want to kind of do personalized consultations now. We are actually offering that for no cost, free of charge, over the phone. So it might be that we have a conversation so that we can kind of go through exactly. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So a couple more and then we'll move on. Is it okay? How? I've got Brazilian blow dry. Does that mean I should treat it as relaxed?
No.
Do you want to go a bit more, Michelle? A bit more detail.
Then if you've got a keratin treatment, if you've done the keratin treatment because you want to reduce the curl pattern of your hair, but you're still keeping your hair relatively curly most of the time, you would still style it as you would do your natural hair because it's curly. But if you've got the keratin treatment because you want to keep your hair straight all the time, then you would be using serums and avoiding anything that's got water in it, because that will cause your hair to revert back. And in terms of treatment wise, you still want to keep the hair moisturized because you've put protein because of the keratin treatment that's used. So you want to maintain it with moisturized products in terms of your treatments. But your styling products, you want to use something more serum and oil based because you don't want anything that's water based. So that's the only difference to when you would treat it. You wouldn't necessarily treat it the same as a relaxer, because with relaxed hair, you can still use water-based styling products, whereas with the keratin, you have to avoid using too much water because you want to keep the hair straight. Unless you're just doing it to reduce the curl pattern, then and you wear it curly, then by all means, you can still style it as you would your natural hair.
Okay, so Michelle, if we can move on to the next section.
Okay, so next section, we're looking at relaxers and chemically processed hair. Yes, Joseph?
Yeah, we're looking at relaxed and perm hair, and essentially really because we had lots of questions about what to do with regrowth when it starts coming through and you're due for a relaxer and obviously you can't get to the salon.
Okay, so with relaxed hair, normally you would be coming to the salon to get that done, retouched after between every 8 to 10 weeks. If you're at that point where it would have been due now to relax your hair, we're definitely not advising anyone to try and buy a relaxer somewhere and relax their own hair, because that can lead to severe damage to the hair if you try and do it yourself. You would have to try and keep it in a protective style. If you're someone who's able to do cane rows in your hair, you can just do 2 cane rows just to keep the hair away, so you're not having to comb it all the time. If it's a case of you just tying it. Some of you might have hair texture that's much more coarser when it's natural compared to the relaxer hair. So if that's the case, it is going to be a challenge depending on how long it's been since you were due for the relaxer. So if you're in a position where you're able to get some form of protective styling done, then by all means, you might want to go for that option. In terms of routine in maintaining, you would still have to do your treatments every 2 to 3 weeks, as you were doing anyway. So that has to still stay the same. But you have to find a way to protect the hair so that you're not doing too much to the hair at this point. Hopefully, this will not be a long situation where you have to wait for longer. Hopefully, it won't extend to another 3 weeks or something where you have to stay at home with the hair, because we do know that there's a risk of breakage the longer the hair is left without being processed. So this is where we always advise to keep the hair in a protective styling, because if you're someone who are transitioning, it will still be the same process, keeping a protective styling. However, now the challenge would be for those of you with relaxed hair and it's short, because you're not able to probably braid it or do something with it. You would just have to treat the hair, moisturize, do the treatment every 2 weeks. If it's a case of you're able to just comb the hair and keep it wrapped, then you can try and do that, because it will be a challenge to try and style the hair when you've got a lot of regrowth and the hair is quite short as well. So in that scenario, it is going to be a bit of a challenge. If you can just keep it covered, that means you should still continue to comb your hair as much as you can. There will be a temptation for maybe trying to use too much heat to try and straighten the natural to blend in with the relaxer. I would recommend trying to avoid that, unless some of you might still be going to work, but hopefully majority of you would be staying at home, so there won't be any need to do much styling to the hair. But avoid putting too much heat on the hair, because that will cause heat damage to the hair. So just try to keep it covered as much as you can. Tie it up if your hair is long enough to do that, or do some kind of cane around the hair. You don't necessarily have to use extension. It's just a way of just keeping the hair away and just minimizing any much physical use on the hair itself as well. That's what I would say about relaxer and maintenance.
Sorry, on the relaxer, the long clients will go with long relaxed hair. Keeping the roots, especially the roots, is where they need to keep it moist. So at that point, you need products like conditioning hairdress. If you have a nighttime cream, you will put more on the processed hair, and keeping the roots not with moist. So conditioning hairdress textured creams are very good for the roots to stimulate the hair so that it doesn't become so dehydrated. And that would also slow down any form of breakage on the hair as well.
Okay, so Mariam was asking.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? It's Jacqueline. What Harriet just said, are there any particular brands, Harriet, that you can suggest that we might purchase?
You can use the Mezzani does a conditioning hairdress. In your case, the Future Pacific hair cream in the tube, they do that as well. And Kerry Care also do conditioning hairdress as well. And Designer Essential also have a conditioning hairdress in their range as well.
But sorry, what did you say the Phyto Specific one's called? Because that's the brand that I currently use.
You just say styling moisturizing cream.
Yes.
Styling moisturizer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Jacqueline, we can send you a list as well.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. So Mariam was asking if it's being recorded because she's finding it very useful. So yes, it will be recorded, and we'll send you the link by email so you can kind of replay if you need to.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was for the relaxer. And if anyone's got a curly perm, again, with curly perm, because it tends to really work well in terms of moisture, it's not a severe worry compared to the relaxer, I would say, with the curly perm, because you can stretch that for a bit long. So again, it's just the same thing. Just keep the hair moisturized, especially like Harriet mentioned about the root area where you have more of your regrowth. You want to keep that moisturized as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take a few more questions before it sounds like you're ready to move on to the next section. Is it possible to change hair porosity? Leonie, what do you mean by that? So Leonie asked the question just to get a bit more clarity. Okay, so somebody else was asking about homemade treatments. Keisha, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So if you just hold on tight, we'll talk about that. How do you recommend maintaining moisture in between wash days? We've talked about that. What about pre-pooing with aloe vera and coconut oil? Would that be useful?
So what was that?
Pre-pooing the hair with aloe vera and coconut oil. Would that be useful?
I know coconut oil can be used before shampoo. So you can put coconut oil on the hair and the scalp, cover it with a plastic cap for anything between 15 to 30 minutes. And then when you take off the cap, you don't have to rinse off the oil itself. You can just go ahead and start your shampooing process, because the coconut oil helps to retain the moisture in the hair during the shampooing and conditioning process. So that can be used as well. I'm not sure about aloe vera. It's not something we've used. Harriet, you know anything about?
I've seen it been done in YouTube. Some people put on their hair before shampooing.
Okay.
So they might keep it on the hair for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on length and the thickness of the hair. Some people do it that way. But it's not a practice that we have done ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, Tracy was asking, what's the best treatment for hair shedding in natural hair?
For hair shedding.
Yeah, hair shedding.
Okay.
What's causing it to shed?
Yeah, that's the most important thing, to understand why it's shedding in the first place. And there could be lots of different reasons for it. Do you have any idea at all, Tracy?
Hi, Tracy. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yes, I'm really asking for my niece because she's saying that her hair has been shedding, like she's seeing the little white bulbs at the end of her hair. She's at uni, so I'm not sure if it's the stress of the coursework.
She could be on anemic if it's coming from the follicle directly. Is her hair natural or is it chemical treated?
Yeah.
Which one? Chemical treated?
No, natural hair.
Natural hair. She could be anemic. It can also cause by stress if it's coming straight from the follicle layer area.
Okay.
So she needs to check her iron level to make sure she's not anemic.
So that's more like a blood test thing too.
That's correct.
Yeah. But tomorrow again, you can give us a call and we can go in a bit more detail.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so colored hair. I know there's a few people here that color their hair. Michelle colors her hair. So yeah, let's talk about colored hair and what we can do, and should you try attempt to color your own hair at home?
Okay. All right. Okay. I see Bali's already put her hair in the cane row. Protective style. Right. Okay. So color, for those of us with color treated hair, definitely do not attempt to do your own color at home. This is something we always say to clients when they come in. Don't attempt to do your own color at home. If you've got color in your hair, you want to make sure you maintain moisture. You will still hear this word. Your hair needs moisture regardless of whether it's got color or it doesn't have. But if it definitely has color, because color is a form of a chemical, it does change the structure of your hair. You are going in and putting in something that is not naturally there in the beginning. So you want to maintain moisture on your hair. So if you've got color treated hair, if your hair is natural, you normally be doing your treatments every 2 to 3, between every 2 to 3 weeks, or even 4 weeks, depending on what color you have. If you have color like me, so my hair is bleached at the moment and it's blonde. So ideally, I will be doing my treatments every 2 weeks because my hair will naturally become very dry. If you've got bleach on your hair, it does dry out the hair. So you want to make sure you do moisturizing treatment. Products you would use, if you've done color with us, we would have spoken about you using shampoos for color treated hair. We would have either recommended what we use at the salon. If you didn't necessarily do it with us and you do know the brand that you use, you would either want to find a shampoo and a conditioner within the color range that was used or whatever you've used on your hair as well. So you always want to use shampoos and conditioners specifically catering for color treated hair because they help to maintain moisture in your hair and they also help to retain the color of the hair, stopping it from fading and helping it to last a little bit longer. So you want to do your treatments between every 2 to 4 weeks. If you've got chemically processed hair, which would be relaxed hair, and then we put color as well, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, if you're really stretching it, will be how often you want to be doing your moisturizing treatment. Again, it will still be moisture that you need to do. But if your hair is relaxed and it's got color as well, you want to probably put in some protein as well. So you can do a combined treatment of moisture and protein together every, I think with the treatment with the blend, the protein and the moisture, you can do that every 4 weeks if your hair is relaxed and you've got color as well. And then if you're just doing a moisture treatment, that can be done between every 2 weeks or 3 weeks as well. There might be some questions in there before I go on. Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, Laura, thank you for that information. Laura says that coconut oil is the only thing scientifically proven to protect the hair from hydro fatigue. And also aloe vera, so she suggests wouldn't work as a pre-poo. Like Harriet said, sometimes you see lots of different stuff on YouTube, but it's not always, you have to do your own research. Can we order the moisturizing products from you? Yes, you can. You can just give us a call and we can go through exactly before you actually go and order anything. So give us a call, we talk through and we can place the order for you. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Is there anything else you want to say about colored hair, or is there any other questions regarding colored hair?
Yeah, I've just got one because I've got my hand over my eyes so Harriet can't see me while I say I've dyed my hair myself. Listen, I got too much grey. It had to be done. Sorry, but it's made it really extra dry, drier than it normally is, which is pretty dry anyway. So one of the reasons I guess why I also was washing it every week was because I've probably been doing this all completely wrong, but I would use a deep conditioner to try and get some moisture back in it, but I'm not really sure it's working. I'm not really sure it's working. So
it doesn't sound like it is, Alex.
If you've got coloured hair, if you've got grey hair rather, which I have, I've got a lot of grey because I'm very old. What would you recommend for like grey hair, which is slightly different from well, it's not it's coloured. It's not, I haven't dyed it, but I've got a lot of grey hair.
I think what we are trying to avoid, not to make anybody end up spending so much money to do color correction, we're not giving advice in terms of what products to go and purchase to use yourself at home. The reason being, the colors that we use, we know that they're not retail based, and therefore all the other range in the market, if you weren't purchasing using, it didn't improve with your hair, it didn't work, you're going to come back to us and say, oh, you made a recommendation and it hasn't worked. And not only that, we have to try to rectify whatever that's gone on your hair when we eventually see you. And so the mere factor that we are not going out, we are not going anywhere, we should try and hold on to our grey hair.
So just look grey in the house till I can get to you. Is what
just be grey. Just enjoy how you're gonna look when you fully go grey. How the hair will look and feel. Just preparing you for that time. This is a taster time to try it out.
I know how it's going to look.
Ladies are laughing on there. I can see quite a few grey clients are laughing.
Is it possible to ask another question in relation to colouring? So I'm actually thinking of doing the opposite, in that in the lockdown I thought I'd try colouring my hair because I've never dyed it. And I was wondering whether that would be an idea, or whether the colour won't take, because obviously I've got black hair, but I'm...
So you've never coloured your hair before?
I've never coloured it before.
Right. I mean, certainly that would be a no-no, because before you apply any colour, you certainly need to do a skin test, just to make sure you don't have any kind of reaction, because the colours the pigmentation can cause reactions. So personally, we wouldn't suggest trying it out now, because if anything happens, obviously you can't, get to a hospital. There's instances where we've seen where people react quite badly to colour, and that certainly now would not be the right time to have a reaction to colour and trying to get to.
Would that be the case even if it was a non-permanent, so a semi-permanent washout kind of colour?
Well, colour you need to do a skin test.
Okay.
Unless it's temporary and it's like powder or something. But
what
anything
about,
Sorry?
What about henna? Like colouring? I was thinking about colouring my hair with henna.
I know people use henna for treatment anyway, so you don't need a skin test for that. But it can be a barrier to any future colour you might want to use, because it's quite strong on the hair as well. So
okay.
And the thing about henna also is that once you have it, like Michelle said, it can react with other chemical processes later. So you're having another chemical service. I remember you do the Brazilian blow dry, don't you?
Yeah.
So again, if you're going to do that next time, it'd probably be advisable to do a test first if you're going to do henna. Yeah. Okay, so there's some explanations in there about hydro fatigue. Somebody was asking about that, which is basically damage caused from excessive moisture entering and exiting the hair. Thank you for that. There's also a link with regards to hair porosity. So you can go through the chat and you can see what we've been talking, some of the questions that have been asked. So we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so this was actually really supposed to be the questions, but we've kind of, we've been asking the questions. So we'll just give maybe another 5-10 minutes. If there's any other questions on topics that we've covered so far, or if there's anything else that you want to ask before we kind of start talking about hair health and other things.
Sorry, can I ask a question in regards to, so I do a lot of exercise, which means, but I'm training for a marathon, so it's a lot of running, a lot of like sweating in my hair.
How are you managing with the training now?
I'm doing okay. I'm still running long runs. But what I wanted to ask is, what's the best way of sort of protecting the hair? Because what I don't want to do is wash it all the time. I try and wash it only once a week or once every 2 weeks. But then the rest of the time I'm just putting it up, and I'm just worried about tying it back all in one. It's been a lot of pressure. Or I've been told it puts pressure on your hair. But
is your hair relaxed or natural?
No, it's natural.
Is it long or short?
Like here, shoulder length. I don't know if you can see me. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're able to two-strand twist it, that's quite loose, and it doesn't cause any tension. And even if you were to do two-strand twisting and you just tie the hair up, you can still do it loose enough without the hair kind of coming out. So that can be an easier way to maintain it that way, if you don't necessarily mind wearing your hair in a twist. But yeah, if you do continue to tie it up quite tightly, it will have an effect on your hair, on your hairline long term, and also on the area where you tend to tie your hair can become thinner over time as well.
Yeah. What's a two-strand twist? Sorry, can you show me what that is?
A two-strand twist.
Yeah.
Joseph, we've got a link that shows.
Yeah, we've got a link which I'll
well.
put in the chat.
Oh, lovely, thank you.
Which just gives you an idea in terms of how to do two-strand twists at home. So hopefully that will be helpful to you.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet, so don't look for it now.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
I'll let you know when it's done.
Thank you.
That's all right, no worries.
I just have a quick question. I don't know. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Is that Camille?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Just with regards, so I'm wearing, whilst in the lockdown, I'm wearing my hair in two-stranded twists. And just in between wash days, I wondered, you mentioned like a couple of product recommendations with regards to maintaining moisture, but in terms of actual application, would you recommend taking twists down every couple of days, putting products back in and retwisting, or putting products on top of the hair whilst they're in twists?
Well, what did you twist the hair with when you twisted your hair?
So like a leave-in conditioner, an oil and a cream.
Okay.
It's lasting. I'm just finding that when I get to kind of day 7, it is feeling quite dry, but I don't particularly want to retwist, and kind of, just minimize manipulation basically.
I think what I usually do, I've got 2 children who've got twist hair, and sometimes when the hair is in a twist, I just put a little bit of conditioning hairdress cream and just rub it in. Or if you have some oils at home, you can also use that as well in between the twist. You just rub it in.
Okay, great. Yeah? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I've just posted the link.
Thank you.
On how to two-strand twist your hair. So hopefully that will be helpful to you. Okay.
Can I just say sorry, just very quickly. I've tried to do that two-strand twist like loads of times. It just doesn't work on my hair. I don't know if it's my hair or if I'm using the right thing to do the twist. What's the best thing to put on your hair to make the twist stay? Because mine, I do it and it just uncurls instantly.
Was that Alex?
That's Alex.
Yeah.
I mean, with your hair, because of the texture of your hair, you might need to combine. You can use a cream specific for twisting with a little bit of gel. Okay. You can use that, and then that will help to hold the twisting for a bit, because your hair, the texture of your hair might be a bit of a challenge to get the twist to hold in for longer. So I've seen some hair textures similar to yours, and they would use a light gel kind of product mixed in with the cream that you normally use for twisting, and then you twist the hair, and then that should help to hold it. And then when you take it out, it should hold for a while as well.
Okay, because I did it once and it was disastrous.
Just posted another link as an alternative if you want to attempt camera in your own hair. Again, there's a tutorial. I've just posted that in the chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to move on.
Two-strand twist. The two-strand twist, sometimes when you twist it, you might also need to go under the dryer to set it, Alex.
Okay.
So that might be one of the reasons why it's also not setting. Or
Okay.
when you finish twisting, you could put a foaming wrap. And then if you go dry, you can see under the dryer and that will set it in for you.
Okay, all right, I'll try that. Got nothing else to do.
Can I ask a question quickly?
Yeah.
In regards to the porosity thing, I understand what porosity means, but are you able to change your hair's porosity, or is it something that you just have for life?
No, you can change it. You can change it. So hair porosity is essentially the hair's ability to retain moisture. So that porosity can change, and in fact, we can do a porosity test on your hair 1 month, and the next month it could be different, depending on what you've done to the hair, depending on if you've been in a different climate, depending on whether you've been using heat products or you've kind of put chemical treatments on your hair. So it can change. So don't think if you've got one type of hair porosity, then you're stuck with it for life.
It's just like the middle of my hair is high porosity and the back is low porosity, so I don't know how to even it out so it's the same porosity all over.
Mm-hmm. So just a small section of your hair is?
So just the top bit, like the crown of my head is always.
Do you tie your hair up?
It's usually not up. No, it's usually in twists, 2-strand twists.
Okay. If it's in the crown, that's usually quite consistent with kind of tying your hair up, or if there's some kind of something happening in the crown, or it just may be like in the same way that you can have, you know, 2 textures of hair, you can also have different porosity in different areas of your hair. So it may be that, for example, if you do your treatments, just focus on that area a little bit more.
Okay.
In terms of with your treatments.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Could I just ask another question? I don't know if you're about to move on. It's just with regards to if you're noticing some split ends, whether you should try and persist or maybe tackle them yourself.
Trim.
Can I say?
How long has it been since your cut or trim?
A fair while. I want to say like November, so it probably is sort of time. I mean, I am wearing my hair in protective styling, but I'm just wondering whether I'm doing it a disservice by not trimming, you know, but obviously I don't want to cut it all off.
Okay.
Accidentally.
A trim or a cut. Whenever you got split ends, the only thing that can get rid of split ends is a trim or a cut.
Yeah, exactly. Would you trim it while it's in the twists, or would you?
No. When you try and trim your hair and it's in a twist, because remember your hair is not all the same length, and when you twist it, it's not all sitting in the same length. So you want to make sure whenever your hair is trimmed, it has to be taken out of any form of plaiting or whatever it's in, so that it's cut evenly. So you can actually see when it's to come off as well. So yeah, if you're trimming your hair while it's in the twist, by the time you take it out, you still probably have split ends because you're not taking everything that needs to come off anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Hi. I was just about to ask a related question, actually. I was going to say, have you got any tips for trimming your hair? Because I definitely need to trim mine. In fact, I've tried a bit at the front. For instance, should the scissors be straight across? Should it go straight across the strands of hair? That sort of thing, because it definitely needs to be trimmed now.
You can see the big smiles on our faces.
Yeah, you have got big smiles.
We're hoping that this lockdown obviously is not going to be for a long period of time, and we can all get back to our normal lives, you know, quite shortly. We normally wouldn't advise it unless you've got some level of experience. I mean, you can imagine we trained for years to cut and trim, and so we wouldn't recommend it unless you're absolutely desperate and you just feel that you have to.
Don't do it.
I think 2-3 weeks is not going to cause damage to your hair. So we're hoping. I mean, if 3 weeks we're still on lockdown, then I think we'll have another call and we'll be probably having a different conversation. But let's hope that it's not that long.
I think it's likely to be honest, Joseph. The thing
You
is,
think it's longer? Okay, well, Jennifer thinks.
I think it's likely to be.
Okay.
I think because I know Jacqueline, we've gone a bit longer without trimming your hair sometimes, so I think we'll be okay.
My hair was due for trimming yesterday.
Okay.
Sunday, yeah, that's right.
If we have to stretch it for another month, it's not gonna cause severe damage. You're better off waiting for us to do it than us telling you to do it, because then, yeah, that's not advisable. Like Joseph said, we try not to advise anyone to do cutting or trimming themselves at home. So, yeah, I would say probably hold off on that one.
Point taken.
She started already.
Well, she holds the scissors.
Yes.
Well, what would happen,
He
Jackie?
said I needed to cut my hair off, by the way. He's always saying, oh, perhaps you should just cut it off, Jackie. Well,
If anyone
I
would
won't
try
do
to
that.
trim or to cut it themselves, when you come, you will end up losing a lot more because it will be uneven, and we have to try to even it out for you. And so those who like the length, the advice is leave it alone. Normal recommendation is 12 weeks that we usually encourage clients to stretch the trim for. And hopefully none of you will be at home for that long period of time before we see you, by God's grace. So hold on.
At the moment, we don't know. Jennifer thinks it's another month, but we'll see. Okay, so unless there's any other questions, we'll just move on. We've got about half an hour left. Okay, one more question. I'm having quite a bit of struggle with dry split ends, which are getting knotty with lots of breakage. And like others, was about to dust off my scissors, my hair scissors. I'm not quite sure what to do to keep it from all breaking off without a trim.
Okay.
Moist.
Put extra moisture in there and try and, if your hair is natural, keep it in a twist or some kind of protective styling so that it's not out. That hopefully by the time we get back to the salon, when you come in for us to do it, we'll be able to detangle. Like Harriet said, you're better off waiting until we're able to do the hair, because if you try and do it yourself at home, when you come back, we'll either be having to rectify the areas where it's uneven and we're having to take off more. But if you're finding the ends are quite knotty, what you can do before you do your shampoo, put conditioner on your hair. That will soften your hair and help to detangle the ends so that it's not actually breaking off. If you try and detangle when it's dry, that will definitely cause the hair to break. But you can put a little bit of conditioner on the mid-length to the ends of the hair. Use your fingers to detangle, and then like a tangle teaser brush if you have one, and then do your shampooing or conditioning process. But try to keep it in a twist or something, because that's a bit more safer and lighter on the hair. So hopefully that should help a bit. You can try that.
Okay.
Hi, it's Gloria. I've got a quick question about when you two-strand twist the hair, the ends of the hair. So the main part of the hair actually looks moisturized. And I know that some people get this nice curl at the end, but sometimes the hair's just really fuzzy at the end. So I'm just wondering if there's anything you can do to keep the very ends of the hair moisturized, like a product or something you can use at the very ends.
You could use Twisted Defining Cream to lock the hair in when you twist it at the very end.
Okay.
That's Jane Carter.
Yeah.
The Twist and Lock or Design Essential Curl Stretching Cream. So you might either put a little bit more product toward the ends, because that will need more moisture. So if you're using, sometimes if you're not putting enough product to what you need, you can leave the hair still looking frizzy and dry. So, but at the same time, you don't want to put too much. So if you feel that it still looks that way, just add a little bit more product on the hair and then twist it in.
Okay, what was the first make?
Jane Carter.
Jane Carter, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions?
Can I just ask a question about hair supplements? Whether, because we're not going out as much, we're not getting as much, I don't know if there's a hair supplement that you guys would recommend.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about supplements actually in the next section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, super. Great.
Yeah, so you kind of just a little bit ahead of us. But if your question is not answered, then please do ask it again. Yeah. Okay, it sounds like that's it. So we'll move on to the next section. I'll just bring back my screen again so you can see what's going on. Okay. So reducing stress. Why are we talking about stress? A lot of the phone calls that we've got, you know, since the lockdown, it's generally people kind of concerned, sometimes almost in a state of panic. Now, obviously, what's happening is a serious situation. I mean, obviously, people have had lots of conversations. We've been talking about it at home. It's not something that we've ever experienced before, certainly in our lifetime, and it is very serious. And obviously, we need to, you know, adhere to all the guidelines that are being given and everything else like that. But the other thing that I've also noticed, really, is that sometimes people are getting themselves in a big wind up just because they're just listening to so much of the media and it's being pumped out constantly. And if you're not careful, you can actually just take that on board. And that in itself just begins to stress you out. I'm not saying don't listen to the news, find out what's going on. But sometimes we just need to be a little bit aware of the amount of media intake that we have. We found that stress is a big contributor to hair loss. It's actually a major contributor to hair loss. You know, the quality of our blood determines oftentimes the quality of our hair, and the quality of our blood is often determined by the quality of our diet and various other factors. So diet is certainly a big one. The amount of water that we drink is a key one, and I would, you know, would strongly recommend, you know, sometimes when we are, I can hear you in the background.
He's right next to me. He's right there.
Okay. Where was I? Oh, water. So again, a lot of times we ask clients, you know, what's your water intake like? Because it's easy to go for the quick fix and, you know, get a product or a treatment and you think that you're fine, but that's only temporary. And so there is actually, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and we was talking about how can we still remain positive, you know, through all of this? How can we find positive things, you know, through this whole experience, as difficult as it is, as challenging as it is? And, you know, for us, it's, you know, we were, the amount that our children were saying to us how much they love just having both of us at home, because usually only one of us is with them because one of us is working. And, you know, that's been really positive, and spending that time with our children. You know, having meal times together where we can actually sit down and eat together at the table. These are all positive things. So while you're at home, this is actually a great opportunity to, you know, to create new habits. Like I said, I mean, normally it can take anything from 21 to 28 days to create a new habit. Now, if, according to what was put in the group before, we've got another 4 weeks, then we certainly can all create really good positive habits. And one of those may just simply be, our daughter wants to say hello. She's keen to get.
The youngest one. Say hello. Give everybody a wave.
Hello.
Hi.
It's Maxine.
Hi. It's shocking her from.
Okay, she's happy now. So we have the time to actually create new habits while we're at home. And I think the most important gift that we can give ourselves really is the gift of health. Ultimately, if we don't have health, we don't have anything. And so, I mean, the areas that we really need to be looking at is our food and our diet in terms of what we put into our body. Now, there's lots of, you know, books, there's lots of things on the internet in terms of having a balanced diet. I mean, generally, we would recommend more of a plant-based diet, as opposed to kind of like trying to balance out a meat diet. But again, you know, do your own research, but it is proven over and over again that a plant-based diet is generally best. We talked about water. Most people, I think, including myself, would admit that we actually don't drink enough water. So certainly up your water intake whilst you're at home. Somebody mentioned about supplements. And certainly there's some key supplements that we need to be looking at. I'll go through the main ones. So vitamin D3 should be on everyone's list in terms of supplements. Vitamin D3 has what we call receptors in every cell of the body. So generally, you'll find that most ethnic Black people generally tend to be slightly deficient in D3. So these are supplements that you can take. Vitamin C is another supplement that we should be looking at. It's important for building up the immune system, which is obviously important at this stage. It helps to make antibodies, and the immune cells help to protect us against viruses and bacteria. So you can see what an important supplement that is. Zinc. Zinc is a vital mineral required for over 300 processes in the body, including cell growth and repair, and we need zinc for immune systems to work efficiently. You'll find, I would recommend, if you, obviously most of us are in lockdown, but there's a website called Baldwin's. I'll put the website in the group, but Baldwin's is probably the UK's biggest distributor of supplements. They've got a shop in Elephant and Castle. I don't know if they're actually open, but you can certainly order the products online. So those are the main ones. There are other ones, obviously, depending on whether you're iron deficient, which again, we're finding a lot, where a lot of our clients are iron deficient. So if you're iron deficient, again, now it's difficult to get to your GP, but you've got natural things like molasses, blackstrap molasses, which is excellent for iron deficiency. When you're taking anything iron related, it's important to have kind of like lemon. It helps with the absorption of iron into the body as well. So without, I mean, we're not by any means experts, but these are things we've got a nutritionist friend of ours who's kind of been recommending some stuff for us, and we thought that we'd share it with you also. But it's important to do your own research and obviously look at your own kind of deficiencies and areas that you need to make up and build up your immune system, and it helps to just fight off obviously viruses and various other things that we which is obviously around at the moment. I'll just finish off on this. The other thing which is really important, and I was sharing this with somebody else, is really kind of our attitude in all of this, because we can find ourselves really kind of complaining, oh, we're stuck at home, oh, it's so inconvenient, we can't go out, and this, that, and the other. But somebody sent me this earlier on today, and the question was basically, who do I want to be during COVID-19? And there's 3 areas in which we can live, or we can, you know, we can find ourselves in. So the fear zone, I mean, initially everyone was fearful, was afraid what's going to happen. You know, I remember going into Costco, and there's like almost like a scramble to get into Costco, where people were grabbing food, toilet paper, and basically whatever they could get their hands on. And there was kind of this emotional element flying around. People were complaining. There was lots of WhatsApp messages being forwarded around, some of it false, some of it fake, some of it, you know, not true, as people were trying to get news around. And that's kind of really living in the area of fear. And we don't want to live in the spectrum of fear, because fear also is one of those things that actually suppresses our immune system. And so, you know, we have a lesser capacity to fight off viruses if we're constantly living in fear. So we should really be moving from living in fear to kind of learning about our body, learning about our hair, learning about our immune system, learning about our diet and the impact on our hair. And so in this area, we kind of learn to identify emotions. We become more aware of the situation and kind of more think about how to act as opposed to reacting to situations. We're more sensible about evaluating information before obviously spreading lots of false stuff. I mean, a lot of the stuff you get on messaging and WhatsApp, just do your research and just find out if this stuff is actually true before forwarding it on, because otherwise all we're doing is just being agents of false information. And also recognize that we're all trying to do our best and be helpful to those around us as well. And the area in which we grow the most is really when we kind of think of others and see how we can be helpful to others. Because the more we help others, the more we help ourselves, actually, in reality, the more that we grow. We want to be in the area where we live in the present and focus on the future. So we're not kind of just really just stressing about now, because this thing is going to pass. You know, it's not going to be here forever. We don't know how long it's going to be, but it will pass, just like other viruses have. And so how do we prepare for the future when things begin to get back to normal? How do we begin to get our lives back to normal? Being thankful and appreciative is just really, it does wonders. You'd be surprised how much your mood is lifted, just being grateful for the things that you have, being able to have some rest at home, or whatever it might be in terms of your situation. And also look for ways in which you can adapt to new changes. You know, there's a Chinese proverb that said that you should always look for, in every crisis, look for the positive. And we need to look for ways in which we can adapt. I mean, now, if you hadn't heard of Zoom, you certainly have heard of Zoom now. And Zoom is kind of, I'm sure their share price has gone up because everyone is using, video conferencing and, telephone calling. So let's look at ways in which we can adapt. Let's learn new skills. Let's learn new things. The Open University opened up a whole section of their library where you can learn new things while you're at home. And I've looked through and there's some amazing courses that you can do for free. Whereas before, this whole thing, you'd have had to pay for them. So it's just really to kind of get into that growth area and not living in fear. And that will help us not just physiologically, but it helps us emotionally. And it also help us just to be able to relate to our family members and others. We heard well, it's not funny, but there was a thing going around that there's a lot of couples that are kind of struggling and kind of arguing because they've not spent so much time together, they don't know what to do with themselves, which is a really sad thing. But so let's really upskill ourselves. So really, ultimately, it's your choice. It's really your choice whether you educate yourself and use this time wisely and come out of the fear and begin to go into the learning zone and the growth zone, so that when we actually come out of this situation, we're actually better, stronger people than we were before we kind of went to that. So hopefully that's been helpful. So are there any other questions before we kind of just round off? We've got another 15 minutes or so, but really just in terms of where to buy your products, we were updating our website today with all the products. So if you were to go on the website this evening, you wouldn't find all the products that we've talked about. You will find some, I think we've put about 40 up at the moment. But between today and tomorrow, we're going to put the rest of them up. But you can certainly call us. Our telephone number is 0208 345 5621. Like I said, even though we're closed, again, through technology, we've diverted our calls and we're still able to answer the calls and help with client queries. So if there's anything specific that you need, just give us a call, we'll go through it, and we can arrange. The post office for us is still open, so once a week or a couple of days a week, we'll just take a walk and just put them in the post for you. That shouldn't be a problem. You can also email us, and then on the YouTube links, I put the links in the chat, but again, if you want to put this in the search in YouTube, how to cane row braid for beginners, how to two-strand twist and flat twist for beginners, a beginner's guide. And also some of the stuff that I've just talked about, how to reduce stress and anxiety, 10 simple tips. Again, if you put that in YouTube, you'll find that information as well. So I hope that's been of help to you. If there's any other questions, we'll be happy to take them before we kind of close off for the evening.
So Maxine put a question asking, are we going to be doing more of these Zoom calls?
Who asked the question?
Maxine Cow.
Hi, Maxine.
Hello, everyone.
Hiya. We will try to accommodate as the questions comes in. We don't want to say yes, how frequent we're going to do them, but as we receive the emails and the questions, we'll then determine how frequent we're going to be doing them.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very useful. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. We'll keep you, like I said, we hope that we'll get back to normal soon, but if not, we'll see how it goes within the next week or two, and if we have to do another one, then we'll do another one. Alex, what's this about vodka?
I was just wondering if in their fluid intake we could include vodka, because if we could, then I'd be on point. But
Balu, do you want to answer that question?
I will, but mine will be gin.
Gin.
Have gin and tonic every day. Positive mindset. It strengthens your mind. It's resilient. Anything. Just
makes you extra happy.
Tonic.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Not too much, but just enough.
Just
one.
Just the one.
Just one. I have one long one. I'm having it now. It's the right time.
I'll be going downstairs soon as well.
Yeah, I'm not going out to work, but when I get in from work, that is my treat. So I'm still having that, even though I'm not going out to work. But,
okay. Any other questions?
Actually, I do, Joseph. I have been running a lot more because I've been at home. So I've been washing my hair every week. I am plaiting it during the week, as you can see.
Well done.
But Yeah. It's just because I get the scabby, you know what my hair's like. I get all the bits, so I have to wash it every week. But if at night time, when I plait it, should I use, what's the hair? Where is it? This thing.
Bring everything out,
Sorry, guys.
please.
No, sorry, you didn't. I'm ready to see the running gears on. Should I put that and then plait it?
Is that the night treatment?
That's the night treatment.
It's the night treatment.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to use it You're not supposed to use it daily, so you use it every 3 days on your hair.
3 days, yeah. But when I do it, should I plait it? Because normally I just do it and then pull it back and put my do-rag on. But should I put it in and then plait it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
And I've got a quick question.
Another one. That's all I've got left.
Okay, well, we'll send you another one.
Thank you.
And I've got a quick question, Harriet, because you do my hair. It's Maxine. I'm going back to work in a few days' time to help with the coronavirus as a nurse. Is the best thing just to tie my hair back and keep it in that style, because I'll probably need to wash it more often.
Are you able to catch your hair in one at the moment, Matt?
Just.
Yes. You could just sweep it back if you don't want to tie it, because obviously you don't want to do it too tight where you end up experiencing too much breakage in.
Okay, and can I order I forgot what it's called, to touch up the greys? Because
the wow.
That's it, wow.
Okay.
Yes, so
send me a text.
I will do.
Send me a text of your need of stuff that you need.
I will do.
Get it sent out for you.
Okay, so there's a question from Jane. She says, thank you so much for this session. I usually have my hair in braids, but embracing natural life in the quarantine. My hair is natural, but what tips would you recommend for someone not so used to the natural life? I've got castor oil, shea butter, but not much else.
What's your curl pattern, please?
Sorry, hello. I'll just put on my, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'll just put on my, can you see me? So I've got my hair just up today. I've just washed and blow-dried it. But I don't know what kind of hair I have. So, yeah, I don't know if that's helpful.
Okay, Jane.
Yeah.
Jane.
Yeah.
Send us a message or give us a call.
Okay.
The consultations will be by video, so we'll be able to see your hair and we can kind of just talk in a bit more detail.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, send us a message and we'll arrange a time and we can go through it.
Cool, thank you.
No problem. Okay, are we good? It sounds like we're good. All right.
Yes, thank you very much, Harriet and Joseph. Thank you. It's
You're
really
welcome.
helpful.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That was very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we hope it's been helpful. As I said, we're here if you need to ask any questions. And if it goes on a bit longer, then perhaps we all won't be using our video the next time we meet, because we're all going to be having really bad hair days. But hopefully it won't be. It won't be for so long. So enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right. Thank you.
You too.
Bye,
thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michelle, as well. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
How do you hang up?
Leave meeting at the top on the left.
Click the button that says leave meeting. Bye.
Bye all. Have good evenings, everyone.
You too.